Greetings of peace and welcome. My name is Anthea Alexander, and I am a coach and mentor. And I'm very excited and delighted to be in this podcast, this group discussion with my beloved uh, uh, co-hosts. And they are Yogi Sanjiva, Rae Dalai, and Georgie. And I am not entirely sure of Georgie's second name, but that's okay. Georgie is enough by being called Georgie. And so this evening I feel like it's going to be a ceremony again, gathered here this day, this Friday, the 27th of March, to discuss important topics. But all jokes aside, I'm just excited and uplifted to be with my colleagues because I really enjoy being with them. And so what we do is once a week generally. Sometimes we have little breaks, but that's fine. Once a week we get together and discuss topics of importance. So we have discussed lots of topics over about probably the last good 18 months. And what we have been discussing more recently has been trauma. And we've decided to this evening talk about recovery from trauma. And so we talk about it from a personal point of view, from our professional experience or helping others. Talk about it from all different aspects. So basically, I will hand it over now to Rae, and she can start introduce herself, and then we'll take it from there. We'll do the introductions, and we can start talking about the topic. Over to you, Rae.
Thank you, Anthea. Thanks for having me again. I love this group. It's really cool. So my name's Rae. I'm from far north Queensland, a bit inland from Cairns. My background is I've been a nurse most of my life, and what has developed from that ending that nursing career is I've fallen in love with pottery and ceramics, and it's evolved into making pottery for the funeral industry because all that cycle of life and grief and birth and everything is very natural for me. So I get to be creative, and it keeps me centered, and I'm just loving my life without an alarm clock, basically. Yeah, so that's me. That's where my experience will that I'll talk about tonight will come from, but mostly my nursing background, and I've had some pretty heavy duty life experiences myself as well. Mm. Thanks. Right, might be your turn, George.
Um, I'm Georgina, and yeah, just life where I've had some life experiences that has taken me to where I am now, and um yeah, I don't really know what to talk about. There's just lots.
I can add a bit. So you're up here with me. Georgie and I are friends. So we live half an hour apart in different towns. Georgie's in Mareeba, and she's an extraordinary energy healer. She does a technique called spinal flow, and she's just amazing. And she has a weird, funny physical disability that she's overcoming herself as well, which is why she went into spinal flow. Yeah, so I could talk about you all night, Georgie. You forget how amazing you are.
Oh,
Yeah.
I had a big day, and I've actually had a snooze, so yeah, so I'm quite happy to listen and come in later if he's like.
Whatever feels comfortable, Georgie, is fine.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, our beloved Sanji,
Uh,
would you like to speak now?
Yeah, sure.
Speak up forever or no, speak up or forever hold your peace.
Peace.
Yeah. So hello everybody, very nice to meet you all again. And we were waiting for this episode. We were waiting till all four gathered. So because each one has very unique experiences and they came through. This is the best part, I think, this is a three-part series. And then I think this is the best part. So we were definitely waiting for Georgie also to join. So I think she has like a lot of things to share. And please be aware, like if there's anything you would not like to be recorded, please tell us at that time. We can just pause the recording and discuss by ourselves in any of these, no, any of these discussions. And please feel free to because you don't have to mention names or anything, but the greatest part I feel is when people come out of their difficulties and situations, and especially we are talking about trauma today. So yeah, let's get on to the topic. As everybody says, like Sanji or Sanjiva, and I'm a meditation teacher. I try to help as much as possible people and things I use for myself also, which was very really helpful. So yeah, and I want to keep doing that, no? And so I'll hand it over to Anthea, and we'll start with the topic, which seems very interesting, no? Because this is not the sad part, this is not the negative part. This is the time we can discuss about the victories we had, which is fascinating, no? Physically, mentally, anything doesn't matter. And please feel free and tell us, like, if you can always pause the recording and continue the discussion. Eh? Okay.
Okay, so thank you, my beloved co-hosts, for introducing yourselves and for laughing at my jokes. So So basically, as Sandy has said, this is about the celebration. This is about we've got through the trauma, and now we can look back. So we're at the top of the mountain, perhaps even down the other side, and we've done the climb and we've coasted down the other side, and now we can look back at the mountain top and think about, well, how did I actually get through that? So there may have been a range of different ways that we have been able to be supported during our trauma. So some things that are coming to mind, but we might just take it a step back. So in terms of trauma, it seems to be a buzzword at the moment. Everywhere I look on social media, there's trauma being discussed, but maybe that's also because I'm very interested in it and it's something that I want to understand more about myself so that I can help myself and also help other people. So ways that we can certainly be supported through trauma are having really good associates or trusted friends, trusted people that we can talk with, or even spend time with if we are not ready to talk. Other ways of dealing with trauma can be feeling it at the time, allowing yourself dedicated time to actually feel it and sort of work through it at the time. Other ways can be crying, journaling, meditation. Also, if something has been very traumatic and perhaps it's more difficult to deal with, if it's something from the past, it may be that at the time that the traumatic event happened, uh, it may have been that you felt very alone and very vulnerable and you couldn't speak up, perhaps out of shame or guilt or other reasons. So what can be helpful is to actually talk about whatever that incident is in a group such as this or one-on-one off camera with someone that you trust or a professional, and really allow yourself to have someone there and someone that you can debrief with, uh, almost as if they were there at the time that the traumatic event happened, so that you can get it out of your system, and that you know that there's somebody's got your back, somebody's with you, someone who's not going to judge, but is wanting for you to be able to heal and to move on. As I was talking about, climbing that mountain, getting to the top, and then coming down the other side. So they're the ways that I can think of at the moment. And just in terms of trauma, a recap of trauma, we talked about, and you're welcome to watch the other episodes. They are certainly available on YouTube. So you can watch those episodes if you're interested. We talked about the different types of trauma, things like natural disasters, which might be, they might be something that happen regularly. So, for example, in countries like Australia, we have various things that happen quite regularly, but when they actually hit you, it might be a different level of trauma. So things, for example, flooding, bushfires, cyclones. Rae and Georgie can probably talk a bit more to the cyclones. Yeah, so but when it actually happens, so it's one thing to know that the area is prone to, for example, bushfires, but if I've got a raging bushfire in my backyard, it would be a whole different level of trauma. We also talked about chronic events that are continuing to happen, and then unexpected, more unexpected acute events that happen out of the blue. So, for example, an accident or something like that can really completely change people's lives. So I think that's all I want to say at the moment. So I'll hand it over to Rae and for her to talk about what she has experienced in her life, in her own life, and with her professional life, in her various capacities, in her nursing and her beautiful work that she does now with people who are grieving. And we'll love to hear from her about what she's got to say. And she's also got a new cat.
Oh, yeah, it's a boarder. I've only got it temporarily. Yeah, because her mum lost her house. She had to move out of her house. So she's actually moved in with Georgie
Oh,
now, and Georgie's allergic to
Really?
cats.
oh, goodness
So
me.
I've got the cat until she gets a new house and moves out, and then she can have her cat back. Yeah.
Right.
So
Very
I've
good.
locked everybody out of the room tonight because they've been driving me crazy. Whenever they hear another person's voice in the house, they're all over me. Hey, Sanji, drive us bananas. But yeah, so nice peaceful time with no cats. Okay, so oh gosh, you're on a quick recap on the most traumatic things in my life. And I've been thinking it's very interesting. The way that I cope with them is a pattern. I do very similar things over and over because they work for me. So as a child, all the usual childhood traumas, falling off push bikes and skidding along the bitumen on my face when I was, how old was I? 10. Yeah, that was pretty traumatic. More traumatic for my mother because she thought my face would be ruined and full of scars. And I was like, oh, scars. Yes, that's so exciting. So, yeah. What else? So childhood traumas, falling off horses and the horse running through the main street of my small town so that everyone knew I'd fallen off the horse. And I had to walk behind. An hour later, I'd come home. Yeah, so those sort of things. And then when I went nursing, holy, there's some traumas there because we were only 17. I had a very sheltered life. I had the most beautiful parents who just loved us and protected us and gave us lots of freedom to learn resilience on our own. So we were kids that we'd leave home after breakfast and have to be home when the street lights came on. So we spent the whole day in the corn paddocks and all that sort of stuff. We got into all sorts of mischief, but we had to get ourselves out. So from that sort of a background, though, into nursing when I'd never seen a dead body before. I'd never seen somebody's life change in a millisecond before. So they might be riding along on their motorbike and then all of a sudden their leg's gone because they've crashed the bike. So, and yeah, young men from those sort of traumatic accidents literally dying in your arms because they're bleeding out in your emergency department. Just horrible. Yeah, so lots of things like that. I worked in intensive care for a long time, so the sickest of the sick. Yeah, the most tragic stories and everything from there was a 5-year-old who, what was she doing? She was on a tractor and somehow she was in between the tractor and the trailer and fell, and it was the trailer that ran over her chest and broke all of her ribs. Yeah, that we were much more traumatized than she was. So we knocked her out for a week. That means we put her on a breathing machine and she was paralyzed and sedated and not moving at all. We did everything for her. So we didn't know whether she was going to live or die. We were so traumatized. But after a week, we woke her up and she was fine. She was like, "Where's Mum?" Yeah. It's a lot more trauma for the nurses than it was for her. She just bounced back and she was home in another few days. Just amazing. Kids are just amazing. So I've got thousands of stories like that. I've had some really big events. I was at the end of my shift and I was looking out the window and this mushroom cloud just appeared in the middle of town. It was at the Cairns Base Hospital. In the middle of Cairns, this big mushroom cloud. And what had happened was an enormous gas. It wasn't even a cylinder. It was something huge that they stored the gas in. It had exploded and the flames went right through the pub. There was a pub next door and all the blokes were in there in their blue singlets and stubby shorts and they were just burnt. It was just, we got all of them. I think we got about 30 come through the door. So I didn't go home that day. I just stayed there till about midnight. So I'd been there since started at 7 and I knocked off at midnight that night. That was pretty traumatic. They were amazing though. Yeah, burns are funny things. They get sicker and sicker as the days go on. They start off okay. Yeah, we only lost one, which was a miracle. Yeah. Yeah, so lots and lots of nursing type traumas like that. And then I got married and that was a trauma. I married my best friend and 3 months after we got married, we'd been together for 10 years. So after 3 months of marriage, he ran off with the girl that was cleaning our house, who was our age, to be fair. She was in her, how old was I? 29 or something. So she was the same age. He ran off with her, just left me. That broke my heart. That hurt. Geez, that hurt. That's the most painful thing. Yeah. And then I got married again because I really wanted to have a baby. And I thought at the time, being married would be the best thing for that child. Whereas I wish, looking back now, if I'd followed my heart, I would have just had that baby by myself. I didn't really want to be married, to be honest. Yeah. So, and he turned out to be abusive. He's one of those blokes that put on all the charm until I got pregnant, actually. So I held it together for about 3, nearly 4 years. And then as soon as I got pregnant, it all started. And I thought, oh, no, here we go again. But getting out of that marriage didn't hurt anywhere near as much because I'd already done it before, which is interesting about traumas. And when you get another dose of a similar trauma, you cope with it much better because you know you can survive it for a start. Yeah, so that was pretty traumatic, and he was very abusive, and I lost my stepkids. Was the worst thing. I had 2 beautiful stepchildren, but he wouldn't let me take them with me. Well, I tried, but yeah, so I lost them. But I had to get my baby out of there, so that was pretty horrible. And then other big traumas have been experienced by people worldwide, like the World Trade Center. What do you call that? That word's got out of my head.
9/11.
I want to say hijacking, but it wasn't. It was a terrorist attack. Yeah, so that and the tsunami, the Japanese tsunami, that was amazing. Gosh, just incredible. So things like, and So how I've recovered from all of those, my number one thing that saved my butt is I've had the most wonderful girlfriends that I've still got, the same women around me, are really more than five. So I'm so lucky. So having them and be able to talk to them openly about anything without judgment my whole life. Gosh, that has saved me so many times. And now poor old Georgie cops all that. Yeah, so that has been my number one thing. And when we were baby nurses, we lived in the nurses' quarters. So we all talked about the things that we'd seen and we'd support each other. Because the hospital grapevine is better than a small town. Something happens in emergency department, the whole hospital knows immediately. Someone dies in operating theatre is a big deal. The whole hospital knows. So we all knew before the end of the shift who had had a bad shift and who hadn't, and we'd always get together and eat. We'd have our food because we couldn't. Nursing's so busy you couldn't eat on shift. We'd only have little short breaks, so we'd cook up a big feed even if it was midnight, and talk and yeah. So that helped. Some of the girls leaned on alcohol, but it never helped. It never helped because it ruined the quality of your sleep and therefore your resilience. Yeah. So the crying and being sad stuff, that we did that at the time. I've always done that at the time. And I've had some of those traumas though lingered, and especially getting away from an abusive husband that continued to haunt us and stalk us and threaten my baby, and oh God, it was just awful. So those sort of things I had to pick up new skills. So it was all about stopping the retelling of the whatever had happened over and over that stopped you from sleeping, and intrusive negative thoughts all the time. So the best thing I learnt to do to stop that was to say, right, well, you can just worry about that for the next 15 minutes and go. And then you try and worry about something when you're allowed to. You cannot do it. So it short circuits. It's really good. And my last point then, the other thing that always helps me is the stories. To make it into a story. So something happens in our family. I learnt that as a young child. Anything that happened, you would retell it at the dining table, or just listening to the adults talk about things. Yeah. So when the tsunami happened, for example, I watched every piece of footage I could find on YouTube until I was done with it. And it probably took me 3 or 4 months of constantly watching the tsunami from every angle, and with the World Trade Center, listening to survivor stories, like hundreds it just seemed to help. It's interesting. I don't really have an academic analysis of why that works, but it works for me to listen to other people's stories over and over and then tell it, if it's my trauma, telling that story, and until it becomes, it takes the rough edges off it, and then eventually you can turn it into a funny story. Yeah. Even well, my first husband running off with the cleaning lady, bless her, is now a funny story. But at the time, oh gosh, that hurt at the time. But now it's, oh well, she did me a favor, really, didn't she? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to say, that I've got other stuff, but I'll save it till later. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing your experiences, Rae. And I love what you said. And I've made some notes about having really staunch friends that are around you and that you can speak with at the time, expressing things at the time, and being aware that you're ruminating and giving yourself 15 minutes. That sounds like a really
yeah, worked.
clever way of dealing with it, and also making it into a story.
This is Michael, a very good friend of mine. I really wanted to have him here with our discussion. I said, you please join. These people will really like you. And yeah, he's wonderful. He's also going through and went through a lot of things physically as well as mentally. So Michael, this is Anthea, this is Rae, this is Georgie. So we are very
Hi.
happy to happy to have you here, and I hope like Michael will be a regular uh, part of these discussions. Yeah, just like Georgie and just like Rae, just like Anthea and all of us, no? And uh, Michael, if you like, please introduce yourself. So, Michael, just to know, like this is like this is the third part of a three-part series. So we talked about trauma, like a definition, or like each one has different experiences, and then we were going through in the second part. We were going through like why trauma happens, no? So, and each one has their unique experiences as well as from their different fields, no? And then today is like the victor, like talk about the victories and it's not the negative side or those kind of things. Like each one have their victory stories, no? So and we would love to, if you like, please share with you because Michael is also going through a lot of things and he regularly talks to me. And if you don't want any part being recorded, please tell beforehand. Then we can like pause it and we still can continue with the recording. But if you are okay, we can just keep on recording. But everybody just we keep that in mind. So then they will. And so Michael, if you like, uh, please introduce yourself, and we
Hi
can
everyone.
give it to Georgie next, no?
So Sanji's already done a very good job of
Oh, come on.
introducing me. So thank you for the very generous introduction. Um, as he said, I've sort of known Sanji and been involved with some of the programs that he's done through Zoom and on social media, etc. Um, and I just thought I'd take this opportunity to join this evening. And it's always good to listen to other people's stories and to take some sort of practical advice and wisdom from them. Yeah, even talking about the importance of narrative in terms of that whole sense making process that we all engage in. Um, yeah, it's useful to have those reminders. So thanks for extending the invitation, Sanji, and thanks for the
Michael, where are
opportunity.
you from in Australia?
I'm in northern New South Wales, so close to Byron, close to Byron Bay. Yeah.
Okay. George, you please will give it to George, to share her
Yeah, by all means.
experience.
Yeah, well, it's as you know, Anthea and Sandy and Rae from last time, like, yeah. Um, I I think starting like as a young girl, 5 years old, I went off to boarding school and I think that was a big trauma for me. Missing because I lived on a cattle property in far north Queensland. And yeah, I had two dogs and horses. Like my sister and brother were 11 and 14 years older than me, so it was my dogs and horses that were my best friends because I was the only kid. Like I think the next door neighbor was oh about an hour's drive away. So and there wasn't many kids around there. Um yeah, that was one. And then I went like 2.5 hours away from the family home to a boarding school. I think it was grade 1 to 6 or something. So then uh, grade 7 to 10, I dipped out at 10, grade 10. Um, I went to Charters Towers, and then by the time I finished school, yeah, every time, every holiday and everything, we were mustering. We were mustering the cattle on the property. So that it was another sort of a bit of trauma that I dealt with because like my mum wouldn't go mustering and whatever, so I very rarely seen her, and we were mustering every time we went home. And then I went to boarding school from grade 10. And then by the time was another blow when I left school because mum and dad had split up by then. So yeah, and then I suppose um I was always looking for that love in a relationship. So I had a few relationships that didn't survive. So what I'm trying to say, like, is that then, because I felt like when I got older, I didn't have my self-worth and whatever, and then I got married, and that, like, we were together, I think 8 years, a bit like Ray, but mine was different.
Not like Ray. My marriages lasted that long.
Yeah, but you were together 10 years. I was
Yeah,
together, I think it was
yeah,
about
that's true.
8 years, and then we got married, and then like he ended up with a mental illness. So um that was, when it was like forever, that you thought it would be forever. And then that was sort of another blow to me. And I had a baby girl who's now 21. I've got 3 daughters. Um, yeah, and then like I think it was after so many years he come back into my life, and still to this day I make sure that he's okay. But what all is everything that I'm saying is, like, you have to go back to yourself, and everything is in with me, um self-worth, self-love, and you have to take care of yourself. Yeah, you have, number one is you have to really, um yeah, everything's in here, and yeah, I don't know. um I'm been working a lot on myself the last couple of years, and yeah, and that's what I have found. That's my experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Georgie.
Mm.
So yeah, I loved what you said about self-worth, self-care, and really having to take care of yourself. And yeah, I'll speak a little bit more about that because that resonates with my story as well. But I'll hand it over to Sanji for now. Over to you, Sanji.
Uh, I'll just ask Michael how would he like to speak? Michael, would you like to speak about the idea you have about trauma and the how you came out of these? How are you dealing with them, if you like, yeah? Or if you can if you want, you can talk later, or anything, yeah? Like be comfortable. We don't want to put you on the spotlight or anything like that, yeah? So
You're fine. You're fine.
okay.
Yeah, as Sanjay alluded to, I suppose I've faced or continue to face at times certain challenges. A lot of them in my case are sort of health related. So, um, dealing with hospital admissions and juggling and some of the less pleasant things that go with those admissions at times. Um, that's an ongoing challenge for me. I think I've got my next hospital admission on Tuesday of next week. So yeah, it's for me it's been a question of trying to find that balance um between what I need to do to to function sort of physically and maintain my overall health and balance that against, those competing priorities like work and family life. And I have found it difficult at times to find a balance that is sustainable, particularly, in terms of dealing with physical pain. I've got a few issues with chronic pain, which is a challenge. And I have good support both from family and from medical professionals. So I'm lucky. There's no doubt about that. But it's still at times difficult to juggle everything. So yeah, I guess for me it's been about trying to avoid binary or black and white thinking that it has to be 100% this way, or yeah, and trying to appreciate that it is about finding a rather fine balance between the demands that the outside world places upon us and our own needs, which is hard. But I'd say it's a work in progress. I'm definitely still learning.
Thank you, Michael. And while you were speaking, I was thinking there are some types of trauma that don't end, they're ongoing. So I guess in that case, it's about, you talked about balance, but it's also about finding ways to navigate the ongoing trauma and to, I guess, see the hidden blessings or silver linings that are still definitely there. Yeah. Thank you. All right, Sanji.
Yeah, for me, like I said, my father was the biggest trauma. No? He used to beat us around and everything. But I'm not like trying to make it sad or anything like that. Yeah, it took a very long time to like come out of that because it was going on and on and on. And then even when I became a monk, it was like skeletons in the closet, and I don't know, no, like so they keep following you, no? So it took a while, like, to really come out of it. Then, especially the meditation, as just as a teenager, it really helped. Like I saw him like a demon, and just like loving kindness meditation. Like they asked me to practice. For at first, I saw the most horrible picture of him, and like a demon, to be honest. And more I did loving kindness, those days I didn't have any concentration, none of that. It just changed. Finally, it came to a place. It didn't take much time, huh? But it came to a place. I remember his face in my mind became the best image I could remember of him. There was a photo I really liked. uh, it kind of like switched, or like there were times, no, like there are times like you see the best versions of them, no? And it switched to that. And then I was able to go back and then like say like, hey, I have no conflict with you now from now on, and then I forgive you for everything, and there's a way of paying respect for elders in our community. And then I thought he would laugh at me, but like he started crying, no? He hugged me and cried, but still the karma pattern followed. But still, like then it was like 1 ton that passed away from the mind. But like the shame, the guilt, all these things like started coming, no, after you. And when you even become a monk, he still didn't stop. Like he stopped for some time drinking and all, but then he started coming to the monasteries and places. That was even more humiliating, no? Yeah, he was like kind of his behavior and all was like in a way like perverted also. And yeah, he had this because the alcohol made the worst of him. So he was like, and it was very humiliating, to be honest. So then, but those at that time as a monk, surely I didn't feel like killing him, no, like before. Before I could have really done something very bad, and my mother was very worried. Yeah, like really, yeah. So yeah, but I was a teenager at that time, and he used to give us hell, and it was very humiliating. We shift homes and we moved, and still he was following us. He came. We didn't think like he would come with us. So I'm just telling the victory things, like so. Then at some point and later, I was able to go. Physically, I didn't mind many traumas that came because we used to play, not that we were in the highest classes like grades, but we did rugby and all these things, and we were even play fighting. We were hanging around, cutting school, like trying to hide, and so all those bouncing around and all, and these practices like really took me, even as a monk, like I used to work very hard. So even if there was some injury that happened, I would take a wooden, like a Y-shaped, like as if it was a how to say, how do
Crutch.
you crutch, no? And I was like limp around and go and still try to do it. And even last day, I got like the huge, biggest back problem. I was still like taking a shower and I moved a huge door. And then I was like trying to put sand because it will be washed away. And I had like a rip in the back, and I just lay down on the rock, and then there was another fall, and then all these things happened. But I could just drag my body with the mind and take. So especially meditation, it really helped. I think like in like recovery from many things, and the things that it actually brought the mind power. Uh, so all the external things started left aside. So I realized like, and living in the forest and these things really help. So I think like, and when we are talking about this topic, what I feel is there are trigger points. So it seems like it's like a wound. It's like a wound, and then you have to treat the wound, and then you have to be careful until it heals. Like you don't yeah, like get it hurt again, no? So but you cannot hide the wound. You cannot just plaster it and keep it inside. It gets rotten inside, no? So we cannot do that also. So we have to do it, but until it gets fully healed, uh, you don't let it somebody step on it, or you don't play around and then again, how to say, like open up the wound or something, no? But we cannot hide it and escape it. But there will be like the fire doesn't just die off, no? The flames will go, then little by little, no? And then the ashes will go, and then still there will be heat. So even when I went after all these years and I was looking after my father, there were instances he was not drinking no more. He's not the elderly person. He's not the same person. Now he was elderly person. But still from some of his reactions and all, there were instances that went back to that moment because the memories are there, right? But the reactions and all and were not like that. Uh, but there were times that, so we'll talk about this. I think everybody has uh, ideas about how. So I think like another key aspect is like these trigger points. So we can escape from these traumas. Anybody can. And some are like ongoing, no? Like there's always a reason, like Michael said, no? And Anthea said, oh, like there will be always something. Now there are wars in the world. How those people must be feeling, no? Or not even feeling, they wouldn't have even time to breathe, right? In those areas. But even people watching those or seeing those, no, like that also can bring, no? So yeah, but for me, like especially the mental part was the thing, and I feel like Georgie said, it's like coming back, no? It's all here. And because the body can give out, no? Out. Because it's beyond our control, right? Because we cannot say, hey, you stay like this, and it doesn't happen like that, no? So, and the mind, if we can keep it healthy, we should take care of the body and do which is required, no? But if we can keep the mind healthy, then that will do a ton for this recovery and letting go, acceptance, letting go. It's not easier, just like uh, Dan said, no? But they say easier said than done. No? But why should we carry these? No, at some point, if we let go, we can live a happier life, right? Even if our body is not helping as much we expected it, still we can keep the mind happy. Even great masters, they say, like, though your body gets sick, never let the mind get sick. Surely the body even has a cold or something to go with it, no? Even hunger and thirst, those days were considered as a illness. Now we have so many other things, no, that can go way beyond those. But in the very best of times, uh, hunger, thirst, and having to use the washroom were considered as the basic illnesses people had. And no other any other kind of illnesses. They didn't have anything at all. So surely we'll be having thirst and hunger and all these things, no? So yeah, so I was able to come out of that, and which was very nice actually. It's like unwanted, and those days also I didn't want to carry them, but for some reason it kept on coming, no? And I felt myself also like not trying to let it go. I felt like it was trying to go away, even about my father way as a kid also. But I was like looking at the mirror and I was just thinking it was funny, you know. I was looking at the mirror with a cricket bat, not to bash the mirror, but I was thinking like I was just playing like the cricket, like the cricketers do. But in my mind, it was like a crazy meditation. He did this, he did that. I was just doing that, and I was like bringing back those memories to keep it going. But the memories wanted to go away. Uh, but my mind was like trying to really, so you can see how the mind is also doing these things, no, to us. And really, like, in a deeper sense, it says like, just like some people like the taste of bitterness, uh, sour, bitter, we have a tendency in deep teachings, it says like we kind of like savor this bitterness. That's why we don't let it go. uh, oh, I am feeling like this, and then then the others also should feel. Not that I'm just telling, I'm just telling we can let it go. So just it says like some animals, like puppies and all, they take a bone without any meat on it, and they just start chewing on it, and actually it hurts their gums and all. It starts bleeding. This is a dry bone maybe, and they are saliva and this thing, and then they feel it like the taste of blood, and they kind of like savor it. Even elephants do it. There's like a thorny type of uh, plants in the forest. They're called andhra, and what they like to eat, that is what it does is these spikes like penetrate their tongue, and they get a taste of the blood, and they kind of like that taste, it seems, but it's hurting them, right? So in a way, these traumas and all, we try to keep it in a way, and we are like kind of like savoring it also, or we make it our life also, no? So luckily, I was like able to get out of one of the biggest ones, and even the things that came after that, and I definitely felt I think meditation was the key. Like that's why I openly say like to anybody like meditation really helps, and it can bridge things up and do so much things. But please share all your experiences, eh?
Thank you so much, Sanji. I really enjoyed listening to you and your experiences, and yeah, really, really interesting. So, I feel like everyone is reflecting back to me my traumas. So it's quite interesting. They say we attract people that, you know, mirror what we're going through or might have gone through. And with the like the holding on to the trauma, Sanji, do you think is that like for attention from other people, or is that one element of it? Why do you think we do that?
Oh, others also please answer. So we sometimes I'm not trying to put judgment in anything. I know like people go through very difficult conditions, and which is like really justifiable. But
Mm,
sometimes like we see some people or even ourselves, like we hold on to like it seems like child's play also in a way, right? And sometimes it's like seems why are we even keeping hold on? Sometimes we like sympathy. Somebody
mm,
call it the sympathy card, right? You
yeah.
see these drunkard people and all. Oh, my father also used like he used to always put the sympathy card. Oh, my wife doesn't treat me well. My kids don't treat me well. Like, but it was for a different some idea of him, no, like a crazy. He want to get that attention of the other females, no, and then, but sometimes like in a way like we call it the sympathy card or like, oh, we also like to be. I remember there was a person, she acted as if she was sick. Uh, and she was, come on, no, she was sleeping in her urine and excreta. And actually, maybe Ray and Georgie and all know this. She got like claw hands and feet became like that. And no, like she got stuck in that posture. Now she's like a disabled person. They have to like clean her everything, but she was doing fine. But just to get the attention and the care and all, but she made it really difficult actually. And what happened was she's like they have to carry her, move her, take her in the wheelchair. Now she's quite like she's a senior citizen. So, but it was come on, no, like why the others care for you or anyways, right? So there are tendencies, but some with genuinely also we cannot deny those, no, like they need somebody to talk about it, feel affection, no, cared for, which is justifiable, right? So but we ourselves will have to see not to act like and like we are superheroes or something, no, but we should not be like so vulnerable because people can take advantage of that also, right? There are people who come like with narcissistic behaviors. They come and they show sympathy and all these things. Then they start like manipulating our strings, no? Or like twist, like we become puppets, right? They know the exact points. So if we can, but we ourselves will have to see. Surely there'll be some things like that needs time to recover, heal. But how far? No, this life is not forever, right? And why should we, yeah, something happened, but things like karma and these things also really helped. So if you see the karmic pattern and all, you can just leave it there. Okay, I'm a good person in this life, or I'm a good person. Huh? But maybe something I did in the past, or even I don't know. That's crazy, right? Maybe past life recollection, I don't know. Or couple of past life. It can happen, no? If they didn't really check it. Huh? So if you know, okay, I did nothing wrong in this life. Huh? Or maybe we know what we did wrong in our past, right? Say somebody take some addiction, had some addiction problem, or no, or they went did something, had accident or something, or the choices, or anything can happen. So if we take accountability and say, hey, okay, this is, but I don't want to carry this around. I don't want to have that burden with me. I want to be free. I want to be happy. I want to be peaceful. That will be a good awakening point without just having to go around. But we have those tendencies, right? Yeah, please, everybody, uh, just feel free to answer.
Yeah, so I think that the key to resolving traumas in your life is to realize that you've actually created them all yourself. They've all come to you for a reason. You're not a victim, is what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
So I already knew that when my first husband ran away, and I bashed myself up for choosing him, for creating the whole situation. I blamed myself, which is just as bad, really, as blaming someone else. So, so my journey's been about forgiving myself. And now, like years later, my little boy, my tiny child he was 3 when I got rid of or escaped that abusive relationship. He's going to be 27 in a minute. So it's taken all this time to let go of my guilt and feeling that it was my fault that I created that whole thing. And I can look back now and see why, though. Because if I hadn't married my first husband and him run off with the cleaning lady, I would never have been interested in the second one. And the second one gave me my wonderful son, who has taught me so much. Most extraordinary man I've ever met. My own child is, I know I'm a mum and saying all that, but he is like, I've never met anything like him. It's just amazing. Isn't he, Georgie? Georgie
He
is.
is. He is.
He can see energy vampires, that how people manipulate each other. And his father was the biggest poor me I've ever seen in my life. So he had a rotten childhood too, but he never got over it. He just stewed on it until it ruined every relationship in his life, everyone in his family have disowned him. None of his children speak to him. He's never met any of his grandchildren because he just talked himself into being such a horrible human being, for not taking any responsibility himself. None. So it just ruins you. So it was easy. It's better to do it my way, at least take responsibility for your own life. And so I never would have had my son if I hadn't married the first one, because you choose people that are on the same vibrational level, if you like. And because I was so broken and hurt from my first marriage, it's the only reason I was attracted to my son's father at all, because we were both broken people at that time. But I healed and he didn't. Yeah, but looking back, and it set me up for now my next part of my life. I don't work in a 9-to-5 job. My time is my own, really. And I'm now able to give my life over to helping other people, with the understanding of how rotten things can be, and how you can use those experiences to heal yourself and be a better person and learn your lessons that you're supposed to learn. Yeah, so that's what I wanted to add there. I've got one up while I've got the spotlight quickly. I just wanted to, so we talked about cyclones in the beginning. So we've had 4 in a row in the last 5 weeks. The monsoonal trough has sat right across where we are, and so we've had 3 lows right beside us that were supposed to develop into cyclones and come directly over us. So every week there'd be another one. So we think, oh, a cyclone's coming, we better get ready, and it's the worry that it's coming, and then it wouldn't. So that happened 3 times in a row. And then just last week, the last one did form, and it was the strongest cyclone we've had in that area since 1899. It was a category 5. It was frightening. But it was above us. It was a bit north. So, and they kept saying, it's not going to hit you, it's not going to hit you. And I'm thinking, why am I so stressed about this? And then I realized 20 years ago to the actual day, so the 20th of March, 20 years ago, we did get hit by Cyclone Larry. It came right over us, the eye, past 6 kilometres from this house where I'm sitting right now. And I had this, my son was only, he had his front, I don't know what teeth he was missing. So he was 5 years old. I can tell, I remember his age by how many teeth he had. So he was 5. So I was in this house by myself with this 5-year-old, and we didn't know whether we were going to survive or not. It was the worst cyclone we've ever had. It was really scary. And that was the anniversary of that. So, yeah, so that is an illustration of what Sanji was saying of trigger points. So really, I shouldn't have been that stressed about the Cat 5 because it was going to miss us, but I was, because of the past experience of Cyclone Larry. So the trick is then to remind yourself that you survived Larry, so you'll probably survive this one, and let go of and the way I've recovered, or am recovering, from all those cyclone scares is the meditation that I've learned over my life, and that Sanji's teaching me now. Gosh, that makes such a difference. So I 100% agree on that point. Right, the list is done.
Well done, Rae.
Georgie, would you like to share? How did you come out of your traumas?
Sorry.
How did you come out of your traumas?
I think realizing that as a 5-year-old, I had an imaginary friend called Johnny, and I didn't realize this until now. Like I've all, intuition, intuitive, and like there was two things in my life I said I would never ever do, and that was childcare and healing. And they are the two things. I did childcare for 10 years, and now I'm doing healing. I'm a spinal flow practitioner, and I think with because the children that I had for 10 years were special needs children. So I think and for myself I started to, like Sanji was saying with that lady, like I had fists, like I can do a punch now, but my hands were like this. I could not close them, I could not open it. They were like that. Um, for about 18 months there, I didn't get off the couch, as you were saying, like, um, I thought I was the victim, like I was like, poor me, why is this happening to me? No, no, no. And then one day, like I went to a martial arts fellow who does some stuff and like talked to him, and then I don't know, something there was a few things because I had been to everyone, and that's why I say in everything I've actually come back to me and like here and thought, right, just get up and you just got to heal yourself. And that's, I think, how many years? 4 years now. That's what I've been doing. Meditation is has been very, very helpful. Spinal flow, I do swaps, and um just doing like stuff. I do a lot of stuff, stretching, fascia, like everything. I do a lot of stuff at home. I listen to audios, I listen to things, yeah. And just go out in nature as well. I try, yeah, and I keep one day a week to me and visit my lovely friends. I have 5 very good friends who's probably sick of me because for I think it is important that you have friends that you can talk to, or someone that has no judgment, and you just need to talk. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what's already been said. The importance of social connections and being out in nature, all of those things, I think are really for our mental health. Not just recovering from trauma, specifically. Yeah, I guess I've just found that it has been important for me to find a way to manage stress and to know have enough sort of insight into myself, in a sense, to know when my stress levels are really rising. Yeah, and that's probably a skill I've learned over time. Just to have a, a better idea of how I'm going and how I'm feeling, and to be able to name and articulate exactly what it is that I might be feeling. And sometimes that can be hard to articulate. Okay, do I actually have the language for what's going on here? That's still very much, I think, a work in progress. But I'm gradually, hopefully, getting a bit better at knowing what my triggers are. For me, it might be something like a hospital admission, or my pain levels increasing. But knowing what my triggers are as I've got older, it's easier for me to try and sort of compensate, or to find ways to relax a bit more about the events as they're unfolding, rather than trying to control them too much, and also being attached to an idea of how things should be. I still do that all the time, where I have this conception in my head about how things ought to unfold. And I do find it difficult, but now I'm trying to start to relax a bit more, rather than resisting, and sort of pushing against what's happening, particularly in circumstances where maybe I mightn't have as much control over how the situation unfolds as I would like.
Mike, one question. Like question means like I know Mike for some time. So I'm not trying to make him uncomfortable or anything, Mike, because I know you're going through a lot of now also. And but I think like it's really great. Like you got CP, like when you were a small child, right? And you had it's not something we do it on purpose or anything, no? And then you told me like when other children are playing and all, you it kind of like feels very depressed also, no? Because that activity that a person has those kind of things is very it becomes limited than an average person, right? So how did you come out of those, like, because it can bring stress and trauma, no? But now you are here, and I know it's not easy. I'm not just telling uh like as a, but it's great you came out of those, right? And now you are here, no? Like, so how did you come out of those, Michael? Like, which is actually great, like coming out of it, because it's very pleasant to talk to Mike, and he's like very supportive. He helps many other people, and if you all also have anyway uh help, even Mike also goes through a lot of pain and all. If there are methods you also know, like suggestions, please tell him also, or anybody who joins us, or any of us for that matter. Mike, in the first place, like, how did you come out of those things? Which is actually very great, no? Because that's a thing that affects us, no, or the person in a big way.
Yeah, it does, or it tends to. Yeah, I mean, I want to resist the temptation to say that I don't fall into those traps, because I still do. And I can be, traveling okay, and everything seems to be going smoothly, and then something will happen, and that will upset the apple cart, and I'll struggle to to manage everything. And at times I do still feel overwhelmed. But one concept that I think is helpful, which seems to be entering into how we think about processing the things that happen to us, is the idea of self-compassion, and just trying to have, and I'm not good at this, but trying to have a bit more compassion for yourself, and the challenges that you've overcome and the problems that you might be dealing with, rather than having this overly idealistic, unrealistic conception or standard that we think we have to uphold, and which just culminates in us beating ourselves up. So I still make that mistake a lot, but just the idea of having a bit of compassion for yourself, maybe for the mistakes that you made when you were 21 or 15 or something, and showing a bit more understanding of maybe why you made the choices you did, or why things unfolded in the manner that they did.
Anybody has suggestions or anything, please tell Michael or Sir.
There's certainly the recordings where I've spoken about what my life experiences have been, and I will certainly speak about them again in the future. But I really loved and have really felt touched by what Michael was saying about self-compassion. And Sanji and I, and maybe Rae joined us in our early days of conversations, we talked about self-compassion. So I'm thinking that might be a good topic to revisit with perhaps all five of us, or however many people can join us, and we can talk about self-compassion in everyday life, or something like that.
Maybe next week, right?
Yeah, sure.
Michael,
Yeah.
you join, huh? And definitely Rae and Georgie.
Yep. Definitely.
Yep, I need a reminder.
Me too. So we might wrap it up there.
Anybody has like wrapping up ideas now?
Yeah, if there's anything else anybody would like to share before we finish off the session?
No.
That's fine.
And maybe another topic will be like about triggers. That's also a whole another topic, right? Because this is the thing that I think really pokes the wounds. And then these are the times that people can end up doing very bad things, even, no? For oneself, even the others. And that's the thing, like, it keeps hurting also. So, and we should be able, we can come out of these things, no? Yeah.
Can I just say something? I was always like, the mistakes when I was younger, and always the past and everything. Don't get me wrong, I still go back there, and it's not all good. I'm having a good day today about it. But I find, like, within myself, I say, or if I didn't go through any of it, I wouldn't be where I am and who I am today and moving forward. I just wanted to say that.
And we should not we should take the credit, right? No, some people just give the credit to some physician or somebody else, or they help, right? But this each individual, like, who got through there, no? And and who they are now, right? Which is great, no, to live. Some people just give up, no? It's so,
Mm,
it seems like, but it's not an escape even, right? Some people, even for the very smallest reason, they just give up and even in their lives, no, which is it's which a huge waste, right? But still, some people they keep fighting, and then they are who they are now, right? And
yeah.
with that experience, they can help many other people also, not how to cope with these things, how to come out of these things, no? Some
So
masters
true.
say like the people who can help the most are the people who had the most toughest things happen to
Mm,
them. Like
Yeah.
there's a nice book. It says who had truckloads of dung or something. No, Michael, you know, right? Like yeah, no? And then this author says like the best teachers had like not just one truckload, like many truckloads of dung dumped right in front of their front entrance, no?
Mhm.
But they didn't were not complaining about it or anything. They maybe took a small shovel and started burying it. Now all these fruit trees and everything had turned into fertilizer, and now it's flourishing, no? Their gardens and the cultivations and everything are flourishing, so they can give those fruits to all the people, no? Even the who's people uh, away from the fence also they can give, and they'll smell those flowers and all. It's not no more dung anymore. Uh, it's like you can just see the fruits and the flowers of it, no?
Transformed into beauty. All right. On that note, let's say good night, good afternoon. Thank you so much. So thank you everybody for your time and wisdom and for being vulnerable and sharing your experiences. It's really appreciated, and I find it incredibly helpful. And I pray that it's incredibly helpful for whoever may watch the replay or who may join us in our future sessions. So, yeah, I'm really, really grateful to you all. Thank you very much.
Okay, have a great night to you all.
Thank you, Sanji.
Thank
Have
you.
a great afternoon and a
Talk
good
to you all
evening.
soon.
Yeah.
Thank you, Anthea. Thank you, Michael, Ray, Sanji. Good night.
Good
Good
night.
night. Good night. Take care. Bye.